Hello and welcome. My name's Angie Holden and I'm the blogger behind The Country Chic Cottage. Today we're going to talk about combining HTV with sublimation into one fun project idea. Now you might have heard of sublimation on HTV, and I've done videos on that before. So sublimation on glitter HTV, sublimation on Easy Subli. However, sublimation on a polyester shirt is the most permanent bond that you can get. So the sublimation on a 100% polyester shirt would last the longest of all of the methods. When you add HTV to the shirt and sublimate on top of the HTV, you lose some of that permanency. That means that the shirt will only last the life of the HTV, whereas with sublimation, it will last the life of the shirt. So what do you do when, for example, I'm going to use this as an example. I'm going to sublimate on this gray polyester onesie. However, sublimation is translucent, so you can see through it. So when I do that, it's going to look something like this one. So the gray is going to show through. Any white areas of my design are going to be the base color, which is gray, and gray is going to alter the colors slightly of the sublimation design itself. So you can't print white with sublimation. However, after you do this sublimation on this gray onesie, you can cut white HTV, add it over the top, and all of a sudden you have a design that really pops off of something like a gray shirt. Now this method isn't only for gray shirts, and I will go through a few other use cases at the end of this video. But first, let's take a look in Cricut Design Space at how you would take a regular design, divide it up. So I'm going to do 3 different designs, and I'm going to talk about 3 different ways that your designs might import into Cricut Design Space and how to divide those up into print and also cut areas for your HTV. So let's take a look. We're going to do a few different methods for separating your designs into a cut layer and a print and cut layer. The first thing you want to do is upload your design. So I'm going to do this Hello Fall version first. So first I'm just going to upload it as a print and cut. Then after that, we're going to upload it where we can make it a cut file. So let's do the cut file portion, and I'll show you the print and cut portion as we go along. So first you'll click upload image, and then browse and find it on your computer. Once you have it, I generally like to click complex for this type of upload, and I click continue. Now, if you were just going to do this as a print and cut image, you would just make sure this background is checked, and it is if we zoom in. And then we would click apply and continue. And we would pick print and cut image and upload. However, I want to make the cut version of this project, so I'm going to go back and I am going to use the selection tool and pick the words. So I want all of the words to be checked as well. So everything that I want to be white, in this case I'm going to use white HTV, everything I want to be white I need to be checked. And then I'm going to click apply and continue. And you will see that the cut image has my words. It also has this outline, but that's okay. I'm going to show you how to fix that. So we'll pick the cut image and click upload. Now we want to add both the cut image as well as the printed image to our canvas. So we'll click add to canvas. These came in very, very large. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. And we do want to make them the exact same size. So in this case, I'm going to make them 6.7. And then I will click the other one and make it 6.7. Now I can zoom back in, and I have both a cut, basic cut, and a print and cut. For my basic cut, what I'm going to do is contour out everything except for the words. So we'll click the cut and click contour in the bottom right hand corner. Since I just want the words, I find it easiest to just click hide all contours. Then click the word, then click off the background. And so now I just want the words as well as the centers of all the letters. Now we can just click each of the centers, or you can scroll down here and make sure all of the centers of the letters are highlighted. Either way you want to do it, you will get the same result. And then we will need the top of this F for our final contour, and then we'll just click the X to close. And you can see I did miss one. That's fine. Just click contour again and go ahead and go out and get that. Then I have it looking how I want it. I do go ahead and double check and make sure it's going to fit inside of the white on the print, and it will. And so now I have a cut layer that is my words, a print and cut layer that is the design that I want to sublimate, and they are the same size. So I can go ahead and click Make It. You'll see the print and cut layer with the box around it. We're not going to use this for cutting, but we're going to use it to print the correct size. And then you see the cut layer, and we will use that to cut HTV, so we do want to mirror that. And then we can click Continue and go ahead with the cuts. So the print and cut layer will just print that, and the cut layer, we will cut that from white HTV, and I'll go ahead and use the iron-on setting for that. So now let's go back and see how to upload other types of designs into Cricut Design Space. So again, we'll click Upload, and this time I'm going to upload a different type of design. So I'm going to click Upload Image and browse to find it on my computer. I'll go ahead and click Complex and click Continue. And this time you can see if we zoom in, I want these areas out of white HTV. They are already checked, so I don't have to do anything at this stage, but I will need to make a cut layer. So we'll go ahead and click Apply and Continue. And we can just upload this as a print and cut image. And you can see all of the cuts that I want to be white are already out of the cut image, but I'm going to click the print and cut image and click Upload. So then we'll just add this design to our canvas. So click Add to Canvas. And I'm going to make it 6.7 wide. And then we just need to make a copy of this. So just duplicate it. And now we have 2 copies. And this second copy, I can pull this down and change it to a cut layer. And now I can use this same procedure I did the other time where I contoured out everything I didn't need. So I'll go ahead and do contour on this and leave just what I would like to be white and cut out of my white HTV. So here is the design with all the contours taken out. Now, the only issue I see is that it does think that this is one cut here. We can fix that with a few squares. So I just like to add shapes. So I'll add a square here. And we can unlock that, resize it, cover up portions of this design that we did not want to cut. And then once those are covered up, pick both pieces and click Slice. Then we can start deleting off these pieces that we do not want. I'm going to go ahead and finish cleaning this up, and then we'll be ready to cut. So now we have our cut piece as well as our print and cut piece. You do always want to check and make sure that everything fits over here just like you want it to fit. Looks like it's the same size. And now once again we can click Make It, and here again we'll have a print layer as well as a cut layer, which we'll need to mirror, cut HTV from the cut layer, and just print the print layer on our sublimation printer. You will want to mirror your sublimation design. I just want to note that here. I always do that with my printer settings and not in Cricut Design Space. Just don't do it both places. Do one place or the other. So now let's take a look at a third way you might run into when you're pulling your designs in. So I'm going to do a third and final way that I've personally ran into when doing this method. I've already uploaded the design for this version, but let me run through what I saw when I uploaded this version. So I'm going to click Browse. I found the image on my computer. I'm going to click Complex and Continue. And now the background around this is checked. And the other thing I want to be removed or white, in order to use the first method, would be this outline around the word. If I select the outline around the word, however, yes, it goes checked, but it blends in with the background. So I won't get a cut line all the way around this area. So let's see how to fix that. In order to fix that, so I have my one uploaded that is going to be my print, and then this is going to be my cut. And what we want to do first is crop as close as we can to the design. Then we can go over here, do the select, and we will select the inside of all of these pieces. And our goal here is to have this yellowish tint to be the only thing left. So what we'll do is use the eraser as well as the selection tool, and you can actually change the eraser size to make it larger, run it across and erase several things all at once. So I'm just going to use the eraser tool and the selection tool to clean this up, and what I want to be left with is just that yellow portion as a cut layer. So this is another way you might need to do your projects depending on what your files look like when you pull them into Cricut Design Space. Once I have everything erased, you can actually preview here, make sure everything looks okay, erase any more that you need to, and then click apply and continue. Then this one will be our cut image, and we'll click upload. Once again, we'll upload the print and cut image along with the cut image and add to canvas. And then in the same way, we're going to want to make these the same size first of all. Then once we have that cut image where it fits inside of that white portion, again we'll have a cut and a print layer, and then we'll click make it in the same way as we've done with the previous two. And we'll have the print and cut, and then the cut, which will cut out of HTV and mirror. So now let's take a look at how to apply this concept to a few different projects. Now that you have your design or designs in Cricut Design Space, you'll want to cut your HTV or iron-on. Use the iron-on setting, just some standard white iron-on, cut into the shapes that I just made in Cricut Design Space. And then I use the print and cut function to print my sublimation designs. Now we'll just be using a pair of scissors to cut around this black box as we don't need it. However, because we needed to make the HTV cut, it was easier to make these in Cricut Design Space. Then you'll need your shirts. So I'm going to use a gray shirt for this demo because sublimation ink is translucent, and the white in this area, the gray would just show through the sublimation print, and that might make it in certain designs where you couldn't really see the white as well. So I'll do a comparison so you can see what I'm talking about, but the white HTV on top will really make these designs pop. Then we'll need a lint roller, protective paper, heat tape, and a heat source. So you can use any heat press for this. I will be using the Cricut Auto Press. So you will want to do your sublimation on your shirt first. To do that, we're going to preheat the auto press or whatever heat press that you're using. Then preheat your shirt just to remove any moisture from the surface. Then add your sublimation print. Again, I trimmed around that sublimation print with my scissors, making sure that the black box was no longer on it. And I did mirror those before printing. Then add to your shirt, add some heat tape so it does not move, and then be sure to put protective paper inside the shirt as well as on top of the shirt. This prevents any bleed of the sublimation ink. Then we'll press for the recommended time and temperature for the heat press you're using as well as the sublimation print or even infusible ink that you are using. Once that's done, you can remove the protective paper off the top and remove that sublimation print. Now it's time to locate your HTV design. You'll just locate the HTV in the right area on the shirt over the area that you left in Cricut Design Space that was white on the sublimation print. It will be gray at this point, but you should be able to see it enough in order to locate your HTV. You might want to use some heat tape to hold that HTV into place. We're going to want to make sure that there's protective paper inside the shirt as well as on top of the shirt, and that the protective paper covers the entire sublimation print. The last thing you want to do in this step is get sublimation ink on your heat press. Then you'll want to adjust the heat press temperature and time to be that of whatever your iron-on calls for. So whatever brand of iron-on you're using, look up what the time and temperature are recommended for a polyester, in this case, shirt. Then we press the HTV design at the recommended time and temperature. Then we can remove that protective paper, and then you can remove the carrier sheet of the HTV depending on what kind of peel temperature your HTV requires. Some HTV is hot peel, some is warm peel, some's cool peel. You want to be sure to look at that before you get started. And then peel that carrier sheet back. As long as your HTV is stuck, your project is done. Here are two shirts with the same design. So this one just has the sublimation design, and this one I added HTV over the words. So you can see what a difference it makes in the design itself. Let's take a look at a few more projects that I made as well. So here are a few more projects, a few different colors. I did a lighter gray with this one, but again, I added the HTV in white over any white areas. And I just feel like that really makes the design pop out on something like a gray shirt. So if you're looking for an idea to make that sublimation print really stand out on a gray shirt, look for white areas and use this technique. All right, so I made these cute shirts. So the one I'm wearing, the onesie, and then the mama shirt here. I love all three of them for different reasons. I really think they turned out great. Now, what else could you use the same method for? So I had a few other ideas for you. So let's say you're sublimating a Halloween shirt and you sublimate onto that white, even white polyester shirt, but you can make the eyes out of a HTV that glows in the dark and apply those afterwards so that the eyes will glow in the dark, which would make a really fun Halloween project. The same if you're making like a sports shirt and you want certain elements to be reflective for someone that does a lot of running. You could add reflective HTV over that sublimation design to get that same effect. You could also add black HTV over sublimation design to get a more three-dimensional effect. I'm going to take that one step further, try Caesar brick, which is really thick. Add that over sublimation to make parts of your design stand out, almost get a 3D effect on the shirt, but the sublimation itself has that same permanency on that polyester shirt. The only thing you'd have to worry about, of course, is the permanency of your HTV in this case. But I do love the idea of using the sublimation on the polyester shirt and then just using the HTV as an accent for some of my projects like these, where I wanted the white on the gray, places where I want, like I said, the glow in the dark or the reflective, or other specialty types of HTV over the top of sublimation. So yes, you can press that sublimation a second time and add that HTV to the top. So the sublimation the second time usually doesn't reactivate the sublimation ink because it's usually at a lower temperature. It might reactivate it slightly, but that's why we put that protective paper over the top. So any ink that's reactivated goes in the paper, doesn't go back on our shirt, under our heat press, whatever. Just be sure to use that protective paper over the top so any reactivated ink doesn't cause any damage to your heat press or gets anywhere else on your shirt where you don't want it to be. So now that you've seen a few use cases for combining HTV and sublimation into the same project, I hope you're inspired to create your own. So I really love crafts where I can take sublimation and Cricut and like put them together into one project, and this one definitely fits the bill. So I hope it inspires you to do something a little bit creative as well, and look for super fun polyester blanks. And I will drop links for all the blanks I'm using, all the files I'm using for my projects, as well as any materials in the description below the video. So if you're on computer, scroll down and click show more. If you're on mobile, click the arrow to expand the description or swipe up on the video depending on how you're watching. Then grab your supplies and start combining HTV with sublimation for some really fun project ideas. So I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, give us a thumbs up. If you have any questions about anything we've covered, drop it down in the comment section, ask away. And if you haven't already, head on over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We have videos just like this one every single week, and you don't want to miss any of those. So thank you all so much for joining me today, and I can't wait to see what you create. Bye-bye.